that moment when someone says they're open and you're like, yeah, okay, well, what kind of open are we talking about here? Is it we both flirt at parties kind of open, or is it we both have boyfriend and girlfriends and everyone's cool with it kind of open? Because there are some different levels to this shit, as I'm learning. Today, we are diving into what those levels actually mean. Monogamish, swinging, polyamory, but to be honest, it doesn't end there. There is a whole range of non-monogamy possibilities that exist out there. I'm not kidding. Look at this graph. This graph was created by a poly author named Franklin Vo, and it shows just how many different possibilities of non-monogamy there are and how they overlap. And in this video, I am just scratching the surface. Now, keep in mind, I am no expert here, all right? In this video, I am coming at you as a fellow learner, as a fellow explorer, because I myself have been exploring opening up my relationship this past year. The good, the confusing, and the surprisingly grounded parts. So stay tuned, because in this video, I'm gonna be covering some basic terminology that maybe you've seen around, or maybe that you've been curious about in terms of approaching your partner about this conversation, or maybe you don't have a partner, but these are the kind of relationships that you want to explore. So before we dive into it, if you are new here, I just want to say hello, welcome. My name is Ali, and I'm a sex education student with the Sexual Health Alliance. And on this platform, we have some casual conversations about sex, relationships, and other fun stuff. All right, let's dive right into it. We are starting with the very famous term coined by Dan Savage in 2011, monogamish. Basically, this term means you are mostly monogamous, but there's a little bit of wiggle room. Think, you are a committed couple. You are emotionally exclusive, meaning you hold a lot of emotional space for this person. You've said, I love you. They've said they love you back to, each other and nobody else. But sometimes there's a little flirting. There's a little kissing. Maybe there's a little hookup, either with someone you've invited in your bed, or maybe you're doing things separately, depending on what your agreements are. The ish is doing a lot of the work here. For some people, it means a shared fantasy, or maybe it's a little play when you travel. For others, it's, yeah, sometimes we invite someone into our bed, but we always go home together at the end of the night. So it's not about rejecting monogamy. It's more about acknowledging that desire and curiosity don't just turn off because you love somebody. Monogamish is often the gateway stage for couples who are looking to explore more non-monogamy. It's where people start to realize that openness can exist without chaos, if you communicate and respect your boundaries. I can definitely say that this term is in alignment with me and my couple, because when we first got together, you could say we were monogamish by inviting someone into our bed, and we did that for a very, very long time. And many years later, now we are starting to explore playing separately together. And speaking of curiosity, if you are not at all ready to open up your relationship, but you are desperate to do something to spice things up, I have something for you. And it is a sponsor of today's video, which is a tool that I absolutely love and use, and that is Beducated. Beducated is the #1 online platform for sexual education and wellness, and it has over 150 expert-led courses on things you didn't even know they made courses about. All right, I'm talking lingam massage, vulva massage, we got different sex positions, we got oral sex techniques, we got kinky sex, we got things about communication and dirty talk. I'm telling you, it's great. And the courses are out of this world. The video tutorials have real people showing you exactly what to do. So yes, it is a little explicit because we're talking about sex. So you're gonna see people having sex and showing you what to do, because to be honest, not all of us know how to do these things, and we need to be shown. So thank you for tools like Beducated for creating these resources to show us how to have a better, more fulfilled, intimate life. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question. Instead of spending money on stuff, more stuff that you don't need, why not invest in your sex life? Now is better more than ever, especially because Beducated is offering their whole library for a year for only $69. And honestly, that's way better than spending more money on something that doesn't bring you any kind of joy or connection. So if you click on the first link in the description below and use my code Imperiali69, then you will get access to over 150 courses. So you can try new things, experiment safely, and learn new skills that will actually improve your relationship. And yes, they also have a lot of courses for solo play if you don't have a partner, so that you can learn how to pleasure yourself or pleasure others once they come along. Also, finally, they have a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if you do decide to check it out and you realize it's not for you, no hassle, no problem. So go ahead and start investing in your sex life today. Speaking of sex life, let's move on to swinging, which is a very, very interesting sexual lifestyle that a lot of people lead. Now, swinging is definitely where things get a little bit more structured. It's usually more about sexual exploration rather than having anything to do with romance or emotions. So it's for couples who are emotionally monogamous but sexually open for fun and play, often engaging with other couples or individuals for shared experiences. Now, there are entire communities and clubs built around this. Fun fact, the swinging community is one of the most rule-based, consent-focused subcultures out there. People think it's all wild and unstructured, but honestly, it's probably more organized than your local PTA. Swinging can sometimes look like a full-on party. Sometimes it's just a matter of swapping partners, but the key is emotions always stay at home. According to research published in Frontiers of Psychology in 2023, couples who report practicing consensual non-monogamy report higher levels of satisfaction, especially when they prioritize communication and set clear boundaries. So yes, even in swinging, planning and honesty is everything. Speaking of shared experiences and experiences in general, if you would like to hear about some of more of my experiences, you can check out my Patreon. You can check out the link below this video. You can join for free, or you can contribute a little something if you'd like, but you will get access to a lot of exclusive content, a lot of travel experiences I've had, some of them sexcapades, some of them just regular travel adventures, and just a lot of behind the scenes content. It's a great way to support me as a creator, and it also keeps me very, very motivated to continue learning about this stuff and sharing with you all of my knowledge that I have accumulated and just spreading the wealth, basically, so we can all make more informed decisions for ourselves, not feel so alone, and have a little bit more fun in life, in our sex life, in our everyday life, and that's it. So if you want to check that out, click on that link below. All right, moving on to the third most, I guess, well-known, clear-cut label, as I'd say, because again, in this world of open relationships, there, you can't just fit into one box. It gets a little messy everywhere. But I'm going to talk about polyamory. Now, polyamory is all about forming multiple emotional and romantic relationships with the consent and knowledge of everyone else. So it's not cheating with permission. It's literally about building more than one relationship, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes sexually, because yeah, not all someone's poly relationships are sexual. Sometimes they're just emotional. So for some people, it could look like a triad where 3 people are dating each other. For others, it's parallel poly, where each partner has separate partners. While polyamory can sound freeing, it also requires a level of communication, time management, and emotional intelligence that, let's say, not everyone is ready for. Now, just to throw in some personal experience here, I do see a sex therapist to talk about these things with, because I want to make sure I have the good support system in case shit hits the fan and I need some help. But she told me, you know, open relationships and so on require such a high level of communication, and it's so hard for a lot of people to get there. And that's why most people don't do this kind of stuff, because it's just hard. It's hard work. Communication in itself is very difficult on like a normal level, but this is like enhanced, all right? And not just the communication, but like I said here, the time management. Scheduling to date multiple people at the same time is challenging. It's challenging. So it takes a lot of work. You really gotta work hard to make this happen and work for yourself. I'm just saying. Anyways, a 2022 study done from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that one of the strongest predictors of satisfaction in consensually non-monogamous relationships is communication about boundaries and emotional needs. So it's not just love, it's strategy, it's empathy, and vulnerability all rolled into one. When I started opening up my relationship and exploring at the beginning of this year, I didn't even know what label fit. I didn't really want a label, because I've realized over time that it can change and morph depending on the kind of situations that you find yourself in and the conversations that you have with your partner. I wasn't really interested in swinging, but I wasn't really interested in like full-blown polyamory either. We really just wanted to see what would happen if we, I guess, were given the permission, the flexibility, the openness to indulge in some of the fantasies we had on our own. The first conversation we had was a little bit awkward because I'm the one that brought it up and I really wasn't sure how well it was going to be received. My heart was racing, my voice was cracking, I was over-explaining things, and it was a little bit awkward, just at first. But I realized with time that it actually brought us closer together, because we started having more real and deeper conversations about desire, boundaries, and what we both needed to feel safe and have a really good effing time. And honestly, sometimes opening up isn't necessarily just about only having sex. It's about having more honesty and bringing yourself closer to each other. I actually shared more details about what that process was really like on my Patreon. So if you want to check that out, you can click on the link below for more details. Now, if we look at research and context, because if you watch my videos, you know that I love to quote research to back up some of these things I am throwing at you. And here's what some of the studies have to say. About 20% of adults in the US have reported engaging in some form of consensual non-monogamy at some point in their life. Also, relationship satisfaction is comparable between monogamous and consensually non-monogamous relationships, as long as communication is strong and boundaries are respected. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, people assume that if you're in an open relationship, things are messy and you don't necessarily love your partner and so on, but the research shows that people are equally as happy in monogamous and non-monogamous relationships, and sometimes even report higher levels of satisfaction, as I mentioned earlier. And finally, jealousy is common, but not a complete deal breaker. Now, this is such a big topic. I won't get into that in this video, but I will in another one. How couples handle jealousy predict success more than whether it exists at all. So if you're curious about opening up your relationship, know that it's less about labels and more about the communication, the trust, and the self-awareness. Whether you're monogamish, swingers, polyamorous, or just curious, the point is not to pick a label. It's to find out what works for you and the people that you love. Opening up my relationship this year has taught me that love is not about possession. It's about collaboration and exploration. So yes, sometimes it's messy. Yes, sometimes you have really awkward conversations. Or maybe you think you're the chillest person in the world and then boom, jealousy hits you out of nowhere. I mean, that one definitely hit me for sure. But it's also beautiful because you're learning about yourself and your partner in ways that most people never do. I can personally tell you that I have learned so much about myself in the last 6 months that I've learned in the last couple years. And finally, if you are watching this video and you're like, I'd love to do that, I'd love to try it, but we're not there yet at all, but you still are looking for something to spice things up in your relationship, then check out Beducated. These tools exist for you to help you improve your intimate life, improve your confidence, improve your sex life, and you should invest in it. Don't buy some crappy ass materialistic shit that you don't need anymore, okay? Invest in yourself. So check out Beducated. You can click on the first link in the description. Use my code Imperiali69. They are offering you a crazy deal, access to their entire library of videos for the entire year for only $69. So use that code and get on it today. In a future video, I will do an update on how my personal experience is going, hopefully with my partner. We'll see if he's willing to do the video with me or not. Again, respecting boundaries. So if you are curious about that, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notifications. And for all the behind the scenes stuff, make sure you check out my Patreon. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have questions, comments, or anything to add to the conversation, please keep it nice. Then drop it in the comments below. Je vous aime, and I will see you in the next video.